Hello everybody, Ben Rogers here, the Raptors Digest, reacting to this Raptors 109-105 heartbreaker against the Brooklyn Nets. Josh, the Raptors, the Brooklyn Nets are a team that struggled in their opening night of the season when they faced off against the New Orleans Pelicans, I believe, but they came out motivated, ready to go. Their three stars, play better than they usually are expected to, right? They have an up and down sort of core group with that squad, but the Raptors held their own. They fought the whole way, and with the exception of a brutal sort of third quarter, absolutely worked the Brooklyn Nets and fought them right to the end. How are you feeling about this loss for the Toronto Raptors?
It's a tough one to accept. I mean, try to take the good signs out of it. You were hanging with a team that's supposed to be atop the East, a really star-studded group. That's got to feel like some sort of positive. You were in the driver's seat for what I would consider to be a majority of the game, but Kyrie Irving going absolutely nuclear, Gary Trent Jr. going absolutely MIA. There was some really bad trade-offs this game where the momentum just flipped too hard and we couldn't claw our way back. So there was a lot of negatives I took from this, honestly. And I can start from the beginning by just calling out OG and Anunoby offensively a little bit. I know there's more obvious guys to look at, but come on, bro. 10 points, 1 assist, 3 turnovers, 37 minutes on the court. This is a guy who's supposed to be elite offensively, someone who's getting gassed up left, right, and center. I mean, show up for a big game. Do a little bit more. I get he hit a 3 at the end there that was pretty clutch. He actually hit a couple. But again, like, you need to show more for your 37 minutes on the court tonight and even move the ball around a bit more offensively. I'm finding myself a little bit frustrated. Precious Achiuwa, absolute liability on the court tonight, and he had to spend 17 minutes out there hurting the team. It was difficult.
No propaganda
to watch.
tonight? No propaganda for Precious?
Tonight. No, this was, and look, they're young. I get they're learning, but I'm just speaking the facts as I see them tonight.
Hey, it was definitely a tough one. OG Anunoby only took 9 shots in this game. Definitely showed up at the end of this one, but definitely during the moments of the game where we had that 17-0 run for the Brooklyn Nets. Obviously basketball is a game of runs, but the way you sort of maintain your effectiveness on offense is obviously your core guys. They sort of push you through those stretches where you're getting hot and all these sort of things are happening, but you need your role players to step up really in moments where things are sort of crumbling down. They can't just drop the ball when they're given those opportunities. And definitely, obviously, Pascal Siakam. We're going to rave about this guy in this pod. I thought Scotty was solid tonight. Fred VanVleet did his thing, right? Those main guys showed up. They did their work. They did what needed to be done to get a solid W against the Brooklyn Nets. But the bench, and even though I'm an OG stan, and with the exception of the fourth quarter, definitely didn't show up for most of this game. And Gary Trent Jr. definitely wasn't looking like a star boy in this one here tonight. So we'll talk about the bench, and we'll talk about all that sort of stuff. But yeah, Precious, that I think the main storyline before we get into the positives is going to be that bench unit. Now, we are without Chris Boucher. We are without Otto Porter Jr. I'm assuming we're without Malachi Flynn, even though Nick Nurse came into the season saying Juancho Hernan-Gomez, Bo Cruz is going to be a rotation player for us. 0 minutes for Bo Cruz. Delano Banton at 13 minutes, minus 15 for the game. Precious, you already raved about him, or trashed on Precious's performance in this one. Koloko, 20 minutes, 0-2 from the field. Thought he was hustling out there, got a couple of rebounds, but 5 fouls. Just kind of looked like a rookie there tonight. And randomly, Thaddeus Young, in a game where I really thought we could have used his veteran presence, only got 6 minutes in this one. So what were your reactions to the bench? Because it is a frustrating loss, and that's the main reason we took the L in this game.
Yeah, I mean, the one guy that comes to mind who I really wish we could have had healthy for this is Chris Boucher. I mean, just to state the obvious, he's had a few games where he's absolutely snapped against the Nets in particular, but we needed a little bit of rim protection and some energy and some desire to shoot the ball on offense with conviction, and Koloko definitely showed the inexperience. Look, it's his second NBA game. I'm not going to ream him out the way I reamed out Precious and particularly OG, but Koloko definitely got worked by Nick Claxton, and I got to give it to Claxton. He looks so good, like dynamic, hyper long, super athletic. Like, I really got to tip the hat to Nick Claxton. But
19
Koloko
points and 11 rebounds and 4 blocks.
He snapped, bro. It was really impressive. And Koloko tonight, he was fouling too much. He couldn't get it onto the rotations fast enough. But I still think he showed really encouraging signs. But I mean, hey, when you're trying to beat a team like the Nets, like a second ever career game for your rookie center, he might struggle, and he did. So not gonna berate the guy for it, but he was an issue as well off the bench.
Yeah, and he looks so good against Jared Allen and Evan Mobley. The hype, definitely a hype meter goes up, but that's how it goes with rookies, especially big men that usually come in and need a couple years to develop. I'm happy that he still looks energetic. Like, he still looks aggressive to the rim. Yes, he looks a little bit lost at possessions and all that sort of stuff, but I like his mentality. I'm definitely not afraid of Koloko, but we definitely need Precious Achiuwa to be more efficient, more consistent for this Raptors team, because there's moments, and we saw it in the first game, he looked great. He looked elite. He looked like the Precious Achiuwa we saw at the second half of the season. But even in that game, ups and downs, missed brutal possessions for Precious. And then moments where you think, okay, this guy could be an all-star in a couple years. And then moments where you're like, oh, how is this dude even getting minutes on this Raptors team? That's the dichotomy of that Precious Achiuwa we saw, especially early last season. Kind of stayed more good at the end of the year. But we need those guys to be consistent, especially when we're dealing with injuries. And we'll probably talk about guys we'd like to see in the lineup, but I'm a big Downton guy. I think if Fred VanVleet, Scotty Barnes, Pascal Siakam are playing well and we're getting no production off the bench and we need to give them a break and we're getting nothing in our core bench pieces, Downton's a guy I wouldn't mind seeing thrown out there because he looked really consistent in Summer League and preseason, just getting easy shots, not forcing things, and a guy that could hold down the fort while our stars come back into the game. But we'll rant about all that sort of stuff as especially in the final alarm and all those segments. But Josh, you were roasting the guy coming into last season. I'm gonna keep bringing it up. Stayed on that Spicy P bandwagon, but we don't have the animation done up for it yet. But we're talking about this guy. He wants to be a top 5 player in the league. He wants to be an MVP candidate. Did Spicy P with 37 points, 12 rebounds, 11 assists, only 3 turnovers, 15 of 21 from the field, knocked down 2 threes. Still not the greatest free throw shooting game, 5 or 9 from the free throw line. But is he looking like a top 5 player in the league right now?
As far as this season goes, most certainly. I got nothing but positive things to say about him. Yeah, the free throw shooting will drive me nuts, but I think that if he's doing, almost a 40-piece triple-double for you against the Nets, then I'm not even going to open my mouth about the free throws. He's doing everything he can to win. And man, it's the commitment on both ends. Honestly, Pascal Siakam's always been a hyper-energetic player, but for him to have this kind of output offensively and to still find a way to elevate the D, it's crazy. It's definitely a testament to his team game. And I've been hard on Pascal. I've been really hard on him because I don't know if he ever had that sort of get hit and get back up demeanor. I know, of course, he seems to, but he was an MIP, right? Of course, he's a workhorse. I get that. But I always want my top player to have an edge to him, sort of like you push him, he's going to come back harder type of edge, like a Kawhi, a KD, a Braun type edge. I know it's a lot to ask from a guy, but you want to be top 5, that's what it takes. He's starting to get the edge. So I got to give him full kudos, definitely. I was absolutely in love with his game on both ends of the floor tonight.
Yeah, absolute remarkable performance from Pascal Siakam, driving the lane, and as the chat's saying, Nick Claxton looked like Dwight Howard out there. Obviously, Ben Simmons would switch on to him at times, who played solid defense himself. I know he got fouled out in his first game and didn't look too good. But, and Simmons had a solid game, 6 points, 10 rebounds, 8 assists. Not much of a score, but we'll rant about the young socialite later. Good defenders on Pascal Siakam. Royce O'Neal will switch onto him for a chunk of tonight's game as well. Didn't matter. This guy was driving the lane, remarkably efficient, working his spins, working his post hooks, working those little quick touch jump shots that he has rocking. And the big thing about the Toronto Raptors last season, I talked about it on a bunch of podcasts, is rarely will we get easy looks. And we were hoping potentially Scotty Barnes could come into his own as, the superstar players in the NBA, the top 5 guys. They get you easy baskets. It doesn't look like, they're grinding every single possession. Guys like, at the tier of DeMar DeRozan or, I don't even know, Bradley Beal. Bradley Beal has it at times and stuff, but those all-star level players that aren't superstars, it feels like even though they can get their buckets on every single possession, it's like they're working for them, right? They're working really hard. And I felt like Pascal Siakam was sort of in that tier of guys last season. But tonight, the way he was just getting to his spots, obviously I'm not comparing him to the Kawhis, KDs of the world just yet, but the way he's getting to his spots this season, it looks like the shots are much easier than they were last season. He's going through doubles. He's not looking kind of chaotic, all out of control out there. His spins look a lot more controlled. His body control is just a lot more effective. And if he's going to be able to do that, get the Raptors easy looks. And I know we had that brutal run, which we'll talk about later, but that's how you sort of stay in games. You don't let those bad stretches happen because your star player can go out there and get you a bucket. It's the reason this game was close at the end, and it's the reason we almost won it. He was getting clutch shots and all that. All praise. People got to praise Pascal Siakam when he's playing like this because he has been bagged on so all the time, especially over the past 3 years by Raptors fans. Show this man love. He is an elite guy for this Raptors squad.
I mean, it's interesting because he doesn't. I think he is now getting above that all-star grade where you have like, yeah, the Bradley Beal, Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan type players. But yeah, I definitely don't put him in that category with Kawhi, Braun, and even like
Not yet.
Harden, a prime James Harden. But I think that you could give him like Paul George credit. And obviously, I know Paul George got clowned for a minute, but like a prime PG was kind of a borderline superstar. And I feel like we're seeing Siakam get to that kind of respect, and I'm giving it to him fully. Like it's only up from here from the looks of it, and I'm super excited about his game.
Yeah, remarkable performance from Spicy P in this one. But Josh, we got to give out an award early in this one. You get a little drum roll going. Little drum roll rocking, because tonight, the Scotty Barnes Award. And as everyone knows, the criteria is fluid for the Scotty Barnes Award. And tonight, it's going to none other than Scotty Barnes himself, who's just an elite, the most solid guy in the game. The most elite, not role player, just solid player out there on the court. And yeah, the criteria is fluid. That's the criteria for this award tonight. Get the fluid animation going. But he had 17 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, a block, doing everything out there on the court. Obviously, is not taking over games by any means for long stretches like maybe some fans expect it right away. But he's coming out there and doing the things he did last season at a more elite level. And you can clearly see the growth in his game. The jump shot looks smoother. He's attacking the rim more confident and all that sort of stuff. But what have you been seeing from Scotty Barnes in the first couple games?
You know what's interesting is coming into this season, a lot of people were like, I think Scotty's going to make a huge jump as a primary scorer. I felt like this season was going to be when the assists and the defense make a big jump because he's still on way too good of a team with way too many scoring options to go out there and like start touching 20 points per game. And I don't think that's meant for him yet. Third, fourth season, yeah, I think he'll start to flirt with it. But I think my predictions held somewhat true into this season so far. The defense is becoming all NBA. I expected that jump to happen. And I will say also that I think he got robbed of averaging over 5 assists last season. He ended up averaging 3.5 because let's be real, the Raptors as a team are a little bit raw offensively. He's been setting up guys for a while now, and the shots don't always go down. But I think as this group ages and develops chemistry together, that assist number is just going to get exponentially higher. So I think that I could see him averaging like around 17, 18 points per game this year. But that assist number, it's going to be north of 5, and he's going to be guarding the best players in the league effectively. And so far, like that prediction of mine, I think is coming to fruition. So I'm very happy with Scotty.
Yeah, looking like an absolute beast out there. Everything we can expect. Obviously, there's high expectations for the rookie of the year to come in and be dominant and stuff, but the touches are few and far between on this Raptor squad, especially where Scotty's playing a lot of minutes with the starters, and then when he goes to the bench, because he's such a good passer, he's making those dimes and not really finishing. So maybe when he's playing with the bench unit, it has to be a little bit more aggressive looking for a shot, then getting those touches around. But he's picking his spots well. I'm liking what I've seen from Scotty Barnes. But the last guy that really had a solid game in this one, in my opinion, who 38 minutes once again tonight. Their starters got a heavy load in this one. I know it's a controversial take about what people are saying, like, should we be playing our starters a bunch of minutes? But when our bench is playing like this, you get it. I thought Thaddeus Young, and I want to see Jeff Doughton get an opportunity. I thought they could have had a little bit more run. I digress on that point, but 18 points, 9 assists, 7 rebounds, 4 steals from Fred VanVleet. Absolute stat sheet stuffer. Doing all the things we want him to do. We talked about in the last game. He looks back like prime Fred VanVleet. Moving well, moving quick. Almost had the play of the game at the end, which we'll talk about. But how are you feeling about Fred VanVleet's performance?
I'm so happy you brought this up. Fred VanVleet, I think, was deserving of so much criticism over the past couple seasons. But I truly think that he's in a refreshed mind state where he's just learning to be more patient and less selfish. Honestly, Fred VanVleet was kind of sipping his own Kool-Aid there for a while where he just thought everything he put up was gold. And it was not. It was really inefficient. His shot selection was ignorant at times. Funny enough, I had this exact issue with Lowry for a while. And then Lowry kind of sat back, realized that, He's more meant to be the floor general because he's on a good team and he can
Yeah.
facilitate and help team success a little better overall. And then the scoring will kind of
Hey,
naturally piggyback on that.
when Lowry went nuclear, it was one of the most fun things to watch, though.
Hey, well, Fred VanVleet's already had his moments going nuclear. He had that 56
Yep.
piece or whatever. But I'm
But
just saying
something
on a
about Lowry,
night-to-night
though, he'd be
basis-
hitting these post fades, some ridiculous shots. I don't know. There's a spectacle with Kyle Lowry that I think just we haven't seen, with the exception of Kawhi Leonard, of course, that we haven't, and Vince Carter sometimes tomorrow. But it was fun to see him go nuclear.
VanVleet will never be the GOAT, but what I'm saying is I think that he's got almost a very matured mindset. And I know Fred's always been a mature player, but I think relative to his own game, he's being more realistic now.
Yeah.
He's feeding the mouths around him because these guys are quite good and they're developing quick. I just like it, man. He seems a little bit more realistic and mature with his game, and I think it's paying dividends. He's more efficient, more helpful, overall more impactful.
Yeah, no, without a doubt. And that's exactly what Fred VanVleet needed to do. Took 9 shots in the last game, 11 shots in this. I believe it was 9 shots in the previous performance, but 11 in this one. 7 of 11 from the field, 4 of 6 from the three-point line. Remarkably efficient. And the fact that we have so many mouths to feed in terms of scores around him in Pascal, obviously, tonight. Gary Trent Jr., who was off a bit in this one, did still hit 6 shots, had 14 points. But OG Anunoby, in theory, I think should be looking to be way more aggressive. In the fourth, we saw it, but throughout the game, you can't have him barely taking any shots, just looking like a fly on the wall. Obviously, defensively, he's great. We'll never have criticism about OG Anunoby's defense. It's just the offensive end we have high expectations for. Scotty Barnes is coming into his own. Fred VanVleet, if he can, because he's a strong passer, especially when, not necessarily pick and rolls, but those get those paint touches, those kickouts, the good decisions, when he's not just forcing up those layups, as you said, kind of ignorant at times. I like that wording in terms of the shots he'd be hoisting occasionally, but if he turns those into nice kickouts that we know he's capable of doing, it's going to benefit this team winning wise so much more. So I like that approach he has to the game now. With the bench struggling and starters having up and down season, hopefully we don't fall back into bad habits, but I think we're playing the right style of basketball. I think a 4-point loss to the Brooklyn Nets, who I don't have high expectations for, but when they have their stars going and Nick Claxton looking like Dwight Howard, we got the perfect Nets game you'll ever get. And the perfect Nets game might even be better than a perfect Bucks game or Celtics game or Warriors game, just because of the high level talent. But this team is not going to play like that consistently. And we played solid defense. Kyrie Irving was hitting dumb shots. Dumb fadeaways, and he does that one every out of. I know he's a great player and stuff, but he's doing that once every 5 games, every 6 games. Come playoff time, he hasn't done it since the finals run with LeBron. So I'm not worried about the Nets being able to put up a performance like this. But when they do, and you can hold it to straight to the end, like the Raptors did tonight, that's an indication of good things to come. And even if the record is a little bit bad for the Raptors starting off the season, we have a brutal schedule for the first 2-3 weeks. So don't get discouraged, don't get disgruntled if the Raptors aren't up there in the top 4. I'm predicting top 3 seed to end the season, right? Don't get worried if we're not up there in the first month of the year, but I like the way we're playing. So hopefully this level of play maintains. But Josh, I think it's time to swing it into the segments because we got a few things we definitely have to discuss. And tonight, the Spicy P Lay of the day. It's going to the guy the award is named after. You want to sound off on it? I know you're lit hyped about this play from Siakam.
Man, I was juiced up about this one. This is where I'm like, Siakam, get angry and stay angry. This was unreal. KD getting in the lane. Siakam on the fast break with his left hand, I believe, dunking it sort of last minute. You remember that the jelly to jam dunk that Precious had in preseason where everyone was freaking out about it? Just last second decides he's going to dunk it. That's what it felt like, but it was on KD's head and it was an and one play. I don't know if he made the free throw, probably not, but still, that's got to be the Spicy Pele, bro. That has to be it.
Yeah, Pascal Siakam, absolutely elite tonight. No. Couldn't have had a better performance, in my opinion, with the exception of free throws. But, when you're putting 37, 12, 11, triple-double, we get a couple steals, a couple blocks in there. It would have been nice, but remarkable performance from Spicy P. But not all plays could be the Spicy P Lay of the day, and some just make you say, oh, geez. And tonight, the oh, geez play of the day. It's going to a moment that easily could have been the Spicy P Lay of the day and would have overtaken that Spicy P moment, and it's Fred VanVleet getting a steal, a clean strip of Kevin Durant, and two of them have always chirped back and forth whenever they play. And how sweet would it have been? Fred VanVleet, who clearly didn't touch anything on Kevin Durant's body, knocked that ball loose. Fred VanVleet had 4 steals tonight. Should have had 5. Knocked that ball loose. Was ready to, no one back on the court. Could have easily knocked down an open 3 to send this game into overtime. Ridiculous. Absolutely dumb that foul was called a foul. The reffing in this one, we're not blaming the loss on the refs. We'll blame it on what's coming in the Golden Kazoo. But it was shaky tonight. And the chat is saying that the lady ref, apparently this was her first game. It felt like she had a little bit of a vendetta out for the Toronto Raptors. How are you feeling on that last moment and just about the referees in general in this game?
I think it was a clean steal. It's tough, right? Like, superstars do get that benefit of the whistle in this league, so I'm not going to act too surprised. But I think if you could have the perfect situation and rewind that play, the officiating would make a no call.
Yeah.
Easy to say in hindsight. I understand why it was missed, but yeah, Fred VanVleet did come up huge there, and that would have been a decent chance to tie the game because it either would have been Freddie himself or OG taking that 3 uncontested. And I'll take both of those guys taking an open 3 to tie the game.
Exactly. No. So making me say, oh geez, we could have a highlight moment, a moment that really would have juiced Raptors fans up at the start of the season. I was getting, you envision back to past years. Oh, we get this steal or something. That could have been a moment that's similar to the Kawhi block against the Boston Celtics. Kawhi and Danny Green double block. An early season moment that sticks in people's minds, stays with Raptors fans saying, okay, this team is elite. And Fred did it, but it was stripped away from those silly referees. So not blaming the loss on them, but a little bit shaky. But the reason we're blaming for the loss tonight, it's going into the Golden Kazoo, the infamous, the one, the only Paul Pierce Golden Kazoo Award of the evening, of the night, the late night, 12:30 here in Newfoundland. Let's go into that brutal run, 17-0 run, the Brooklyn Nets. Offensively, they just, you can see this team able to go on just blitzes for buckets. The Raptors got cold, and when the bench is out there, mixed with the starters, someone in the chat mentioned how Delano Banton kind of messed up the chemistry a little bit out there on the court. And I think that's definitely, it's a real thing. He's a ball stopper a little bit, and he's not elite enough of a slasher yet in the half-court setting to warrant the ball stopping that much, and he's not a consistent three-point shooter, so messes up the flow, the rhythm. He's an elite transition scorer, but doesn't seem to get those when he's out there with the unit. Great defender and stuff. I love his potential, but something needs to be figured out with Delano Banton's style of play when he's playing with actual players. But what did you see from that just brutal run? Because if that wasn't the case, if that run didn't happen, and we continued that level, if we played like we did in the fourth quarter anyways, this could have been a 20-point blowout.
Yeah, I don't know what was going on. I think we had a really young lineup on the court, and there was just like a reluctancy for some reason to realize it wasn't working. And I credit Nick Nurse for riding and dying with his guys, but still, like, make an adjustment. And I'm not going to put this directly on Coach Nurse. I think the players just need to be a bit better because we did have talent on the court. But yeah, a little bit youthful and some bad mistakes out there. And I just want to hone in on Delano Banton for a moment. Again, as much as I take the Spicy P criticism a lot because I've been hard on him, I'm also going to be due for some Delano Banton criticism as well because I'm very tough on him. I think that being an in-betweener in the league these days, talk about Draymond Green, Scotty Barnes, LeBron James, like guys who don't really fit the position or the one position mold. It's now viewed as a strength, right? They take pride in how it was once a stigmatized thing that wasn't good, but now it's great to be versatile. I honestly think Delano Banton is one of those rare modern day exceptions where being a tweener is still hurting to him because he's not quite big enough or having the paint game to be a forward, but he certainly doesn't have the perimeter shooting or calmness of a point guard. So he's got a really unique and versatile skill set, but he's not really good enough at any one thing to become an everyday position player in the NBA. Maybe a couple games here and there for certain, but he needs to make an adjustment and find an identity because he was part of the stagnant pace that happened on that 0-17 run. Yeah,
brutal stuff. And we got a super chat coming in from Tom M saying, I think we lost because there's no Raptors back in the live watch along. Tom M, I agree. I think that's the real true analysis in this game, but they'll be back. Don't you stress it. We got a lot of fun stuff coming on the channel. But
shout out Tom.
Yeah, Art saying, were you watching? Claxton ruined us. And yes, Nick Claxton looked like prime Dwight Howard in this one. It is what it is. We don't want to praise the Nets too much. Nick Claxton's really good at basketball. He's going to be, he's a guy Masai Ujiri wanted to pick up a bunch of times. So he's always in Raptors trade rumors. And I think the price is definitely going to increase for Nick Claxton following this season. So unfortunate stuff there for the Raptors. It sucks that our bigs still can get worked by players like this night out. I thought we did a good job against Allen and Mobley last night, but there's always that potential. I thought most of this game we did a good job at protecting the paint, playing elite defense, but we got worked during that stretch. So it is what it is. But Josh, I think it's time see what the people have to say. See what the chat's popping off with and swing it into that final alarm.
Woo.
Woo, 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 woo. That's right. The final alarm has sounded. We want to hear what you guys have to say about this game, about the Raptors in general. How are we feeling about the start of the season? 1-1 right now. Get a little like spike going as well as we catch up on the final alarm talk. But I think we're in a really good place, Josh. I think this squad, even though we're 1-1, it's always nice to get your first loss out of the way as well, so there's less pressure. Because sometimes you go on the win streaks to start, you lose one, and you tumble down. But I'm liking what I'm seeing from this Raptors team. Bench aside, we don't have Otto, we don't have Chris Boucher, who are like our 6th and 7th men coming into the season. Precious is like Precious is either like our 3rd best player or he's going to be like our 9th best player. That's just how Precious Achiuwa is. So I think having consistency off the bench will just make everyone play better. Are you happy with the Raptors start of the season?
I am. I'm overall happy, and I know I came out of the gate here so negative, but I just kind of had to give it to OG Anunoby for a moment. He's got to be great. He's got to be great, and he wasn't great tonight. Offensively, at least, the D's always there. Not taking that for granted, but
Yeah.
Collectively, I am really encouraged by what I saw. Even a ton of positives to take away from tonight. I like what you said. Now finally, whatever, the first loss is out of the way with. We're no longer perfect. That pressure is out of the picture.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll take that optimistic view of it as well. But hey, is what it is. I thought it was a really competitive game against some of the best talent in the league, and like you said too, like their top guys did have moments where they really went off. Kyrie Irving, man, you can't play better defense than we played on him for most of that game. And it's just that's the best in the Nets, and we were there to the end.
Yeah, we got the absolute pinnacle of what this Brooklyn Nets team can look like. Similar to the Nets in the play-in game during the playoffs, right? We saw Kyrie Irving. I don't even know if he missed a shot, and then came into the playoffs and was one of the most inefficient players in basketball history. It felt like. So it's when you get the Nets firing on all cylinders and you can compete, you can play at this type of level without bench production. That's a huge plus. And the Nets, I do like their acquisitions of Royce O'Neal. He solid defender, hit that clutch shot against us. That was going to be the OGs if it wasn't for that brutal call at the end of this game. Patty Mills is still on their team, hitting just shots whenever Patty Mills hits a shot, I know he's a tremendous shooter. It's not that he's like some scrub coming in, but they just seem to hit a little bit harder when Patty Mills hits these shots. I don't know exactly why, but it's a tough look out there. But SP is saying the refs were messing with Koloko, and I think that's a legitimate take. I think that has to be factored into the reasoning why he looked a little bit lost out there. Kind of looked tentative, wasn't fully committing to his defensive possessions. Let's chat about Koloko. I just raved about how good he was in the most recent video in the Fred VanVleet minutes one. 2 games in, how are you rating the draft pick of Christian Koloko?
It's weird. In some ways, he feels like he's going to be super raw, just for a number of reasons, right? You have a guy at that stature. He's not necessarily going to be a finesse player. And also, he did come to basketball a little bit later in his life. So for those reasons, you kind of expect a little bit of a raw product there. But he also has moments where he just shows like an incredible natural touch and sort of feel for the game of basketball. So it's just like, it's going to be a lot of up and down, but overall, there is a lot more positive with Koloko. Like, I've found myself fairly surprised. I wasn't immediately in love with the draft pick. Of course, I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt to Masai and Bobby, but it's panning out. It definitely is. It was just tonight where I saw some inexperience, and honestly, Nick Claxton would have given a lot of players problems. He was dialed in tonight. I don't think it was just a Koloko issue.
Yep, without a doubt. And we have Nick asking, what's my prediction for the Raptors seed this year? Sticking to a top 3 seed, baby. Top 3 seed. I said top 4 last year. We almost hit it. We're hitting it this year. You can count on it. Marcel's saying too early to worry. We never worry. Raptors, just elite squad. Art's saying that until Banton gets a jump shot, he will struggle. And we need Banton or Flynn. I know you're a Malachi Flynn guy. I agree with your points on Delano Banton, but if he can just get like a midi, not even a consistent 3-point shot, just a midi that he can pull up, shoot over people, he could be so good, but definitely just looks out of sync right now.
Yeah, he's just got to be a poor man's Sean Livingston. And if he can do that, he's got a spot on the team for however long he wants. It's just, yeah, I don't know, dude. I don't see him as a backup to Fred VanVleet, and I don't see him as a backup to any of our forwards. So I just struggle to find like that natural place for Delano. But I'm cheering for him. I honestly am. I like the guy. Like he's obviously skilled and from the city. A lot of reasons to like him. Hopefully it works out.
Yeah, for sure. Ray's asking, hello. Can someone tell me when Ben and Josh turn into boys to men? You know, we out here. Is it the looks? We're kind of matching right now, especially the
I was noticing that too.
You know, I got my hair short this season. I'll get the part going.
From boys to men, eh? I don't know. I'll focus really hard and see if I can just pop out some facial hair right now for you guys. Let's see if I can do that. And you try to.
I'm getting my Scooby-Doo, like my hairline reveal with that down. Appreciate that. Me and Josh are similar looks right now on this podcast, but the chat's sort of agreeing. Tom M is saying no Bo snooze tonight. That's tough, but I think we need to
get what we look like right now. We look like Julian from Trailer Park Boys. He's always got the tight black tee on with the gold chain. That's the look right now. An authentic Canadian outfit.
We're out here on the East Coast living, bro. We're out here on the East Coast living. We have a super chat coming in from Paul Blunt, the legend, saying that Scotty Barnes award should go to Josh's light. Holy bright, bro. And we tried to fix this before the podcast, and this isn't an official Scotty Barnes award. Obviously, the criteria is fluid, but the criteria tonight was a very bright light. Josh is light would certainly win that award.
Yeah, look, last time it was the microphone, and for the record, I had it plugged in and everything. It just wasn't on the right source. So you guys were hearing my audio from my laptop. You know, one issue down. You were all fooled. One up. And there you go. So yeah, I got the spicy lighting tonight. I see Arnold's calling that out in the chat, but shout out to my guy Paul Blunt for the super chat as well.
Legendary stuff. But Meow the Cat is saying Siakam is definitely not why we always lose. He is good. Don't try to pad his stats. And all he is the epitome of clutch and leadership. Love it, Meow the Cat. Couldn't agree more. What was it last year? Siakam was like leading the league in not fake 30 pieces, or not in organic 30 pieces. People were roasting, you know, the James Hardens and the Trae Youngs for hoisting up shots and the stuff, but I forget what that meme was. But you know, Siakam's legit. But a bunch of people are talking in the chat, Josh. Jeff Doughton. I brought him up mid-pod as we're a little bit more formal in our analysis. I want to see this man play. He is elite. He is a ferocious floater, a ferocious midi. He would have stopped that run for sure.
I'm curious, like, hey, I'm down to give him the sample. Like, let's see what it's like. I'm definitely not on the same level of optimistic as you are for this Jeff Doughton debut, but I'm down to try it. Like, he definitely earned a right on the team in preseason, and so, like, why not give him some run? But you seem jacked up about him. I'm not really as familiar with his work in the NBA, because I know he was with the Rockets.
I don't even know if he was with the Rockets. He was with the Warriors, Bucks, and Magic, I believe.
Oh, really? I thought he was with the Rockets at one point.
He was one of those COVID players that bounced around and then did that. I don't know, but he played for our summer league team. Showed up in preseason, looking absolutely elite. Man,
I'm not doubting him.
Don't doubt the Doughton. Might have to make a segment on it. We definitely add in the Spicy P top 5 player watch, especially nights like this happening. The cruise missile, the Bo snooze. Tom M is bringing it in. If we keep seeing Bo not get minutes, then that's what's happening. But interesting stuff. And Justin Croucher's out here saying, "Yo Ben, ran into you on the street last weekend. Nice meeting you." Shout out Justin. Appreciate it. Nice meeting you as well. Happy seeing fellow Newfoundlanders or people in Newfoundlanders in Newfoundland on George Street. We got to get Joshy Ice down to George Street as well, down to
I'll
Newfoundland.
make it.
Celebrate some stuff. But 1-800-Lunatic Ben's coming in here saying ethical buckets only, ethical 30 pieces. Siakam leads the league in ethical 30 pieces. That's the fact. That's what I was trying to get in my head. I love that. But Gary Trent Jr. is in the chat, Josh. We have our star boy out here saying that thoughts on playing a hungry Miami team on a back-to-back.
Bro, Miami is going to be hungry, starving for their first win, I believe. And they haven't won yet, have they? They lost tonight. But yeah, I'm pretty sure the Bulls beat them, and then they got beat tonight by the Celtics. I'm going to say this right now about the Heat. They're still quite good, but their window's gone. It's out of here, in my opinion, because they didn't get any better. They got older, and the East got so much better. I really don't see any world where the Heat are realistic contenders. They're now a middle-tier Eastern team that'll give everyone a run for their money, but probably not close out on good teams anymore. I think they're cooked. So I think the Raptors can definitely go out there and take it to them. But they're going to be hungry. That was the most accurate part of that statement. They need a win.
Yeah, for sure. And 1-800-Lunatic is fact-checking both of us, the ethical 30 pieces. Armani Brooks was on the Rockets, not Jeff Doughton. But we got big news. Bueno Kitty coming in. I don't have a channel membership animation, but coming in on the GOAT tier. Joining the channel membership on the GOAT tier. Greatest of all time tier. It's our only GOAT tier now at this point. Bueno Kitty, a legend in the Raptors Digest chats. Legend in the Raptors Digest comment section. Absolutely love that guy. For the GOAT tiers this year, we're getting proper graphics, proper thank yous at the end. Obviously, you'll get your thank yous down below in the comment section. Superstars get a custom thank you. Got the elite tier still getting their thank yous basic there, but we appreciate everyone in the channel membership. And Bueno Kitty coming in for that GOAT tier channel membership. We appreciate it. So that's what's happening. We appreciate that Bueno Kitty. But Predator Kingdom saying Down's a closer too. Got missing a lot of chats at this point. But quickly, Toronto International saying Ben and Josh, do you think Ron Harper Jr. is too slow for the NBA?
I haven't seen him play in the NBA yet, so honestly, I don't know. He looked okay in preseason, but I would say that's not a bad hunch. I don't think he'll make it in the league, but I'm not ruling it out yet. Like, not optimistic.
He looked good in Rico Hines runs, and his moments in preseason, he had a lot of minutes. I think he was all right. We'll see what happens with Ron Harper Jr. I like to see more of him before we get like a proper opinion on the guy, but Bo's making a new movie, Arnold's saying, so that's why he got the DNP. Makes sense. That's just what's happening. Scooby-Doo giving a shout out to Bueno Kitty. Love that. Ray is saying that she saw you and I down at the Boys to Men concert with their black and gold chains. You know, that's what
in the flesh.
That's where we're happening. I can't part my hair again. It's not long enough for that. But we got that rocking, and you know, W Bueno Kitty. Everyone's giving the shout outs. I definitely missed over a bunch. We got a super chat coming in on top of the channel membership from Bueno Kitty. Joshy Ice. You gonna do bet lines on YouTube shirts or shorts, I presume?
Shorts. Well, shout out to Bueno Kitty again for getting a GOAT tier, but also for the super chat. Appreciate that, my guy. Yeah, I think, you know what, Ben and I aren't going to say too much, but we're talking to some, potential sponsors. Nothing's really worked out yet, but if things go the way we hope they'll go, then we'll definitely have some cool content like that coming soon. But stay tuned. Nothing promised yet, but we're hopeful.
Yeah, lots of stuff cooking up in the works, getting everything rocking. Got some big things happening for the old channels out here. But YouTube Shorts, that's what Bueno was saying. Love that. But Dankster10 is saying, does OG feel kind of heavy to anyone? I don't know. I like the way his weight works on defense. Like, the man is unmovable on defense. Even though Kyrie did get the best of him sometimes tonight when they were switching on him, Kevin Durant is impossible to stop when he's knocking down shots like that. But I thought OG Anunoby plays as good a defense as you can with the extra weight. Injury concerns, that could be a question mark because he has been dealing with injuries in recent seasons. So maybe he drops some weight. Obviously, it's not fat, it's pure muscle. The dude is a solid rock, right? Then maybe we'll be seeing less injury concerns from OG Anunoby. But offensively, I think he still looks mobile enough. I don't know if it's the weight necessarily slowing him down.
No, I don't think so. And I feel like the Raptors there's so much good internal competitiveness there that like that would have been picked up on in training camp at Rico
Mhm.
Hines runs
Yeah.
at practice. Like if he was slowing down because of his weight offensively, they would have been already on to this, in my
Yeah.
opinion. And if anything, people have noticed him building his offensive game. Like I think that's only progressing. The weight will help him on defense, especially in the absence of like a big lockdown center. I think we kind of need it. But yeah, I was critical of his offense tonight, but I don't think it was because of his weight. I think the weight's probably a good thing.
Yeah. No, for sure. Yeah, he's not looking chunky. He is looking swole. Gary Trent Jr. is trying to get more minutes on this team. Gary Trent Jr. is in the chat, and he's even though he got 36, probably not looking for more minutes, honestly, but more touches, I guess. And OG sitting down. He's not looking chunky. That dude is swole. But
Man,
sorry.
I was gonna say, who I thought was looking chunky, and I said this about Lowry too at one point. Is I thought Fred VanVleet last season. I was okay.
Honestly, I was gonna say he looks way better shape this year.
He does. He does. And I thought last season people like were coming at my neck for saying this. I was like, look, like I still love Fred.
Trying to steal the chain.
I was like, shedding like 10 pounds or something might be amazing for him out there. Like his first step is completely gone.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's looking in a little bit better shape. So I had to call that out because I think that, that was something I noticed with VanVleet, and he seems to be in just that touch of better shape that I think is going to help his game.
Yeah, no, that's definitely fair. I was gonna say this season, I was like, yo, look at Fred last season. I wouldn't call him chunky. Chunky is a very wild description, but
Husky.
he's like husky. The Husky Boys on the Raptors Digest podcast. But that's a wild take there, and we got Paul Blunt coming in. I love it. With a channel membership, the channel memberships are popping off for 12 months. Paul Blunt, 1 year with the Trailer Park Boys Digest. Hell of a year, boys. Let's keep going. Paul Blunt, absolute legend. We appreciate the year-long channel membership. And the Superstar tier, absolutely killing it. We got some legends joining the channel membership now. I saw Paul Blunt popping up the channel membership emojis in the chat. Big ups to Paul Blunt, Bano Kitty, everyone in this chat right now. Even though it's a loss, we're having fun on this live stream. The Trailer Park Boys.
Paul Blunt, shout out, man. I appreciate it. And the only thing we're missing actually for the Julian costume is the rum and coke in the right hand. If we had that, we would have the look down pat, but maybe next live stream.
I feel like Bubbles is always a go-to like Halloween costume. That's you get the glasses and stuff. That's that's the juice. Shout out the East Coast. Are they even produced by the East? I don't even know.
Yeah, they were filmed in Nova Scotia.
Yeah,
I don't know much more than that. They were like Showcase. I don't know where Showcase is based out of.
Repping not Newfoundland, but Maritimes.
The
People
Maritimes
are gonna be mad at me, but what is it? Walmart Newfoundland. That's Nova Scotia.
Walmart Newfoundland.
No, it's a cool place. Definitely check out the East Coast. Scotty for Zion, 1-for-1. Thoughts? Would you accept that deal? 2 Rookie of the Years?
Yeah, I would.
Yeah. Injuries would freak me out.
I'm about to get ran off this stream with pitchforks and torches, bro. I'll just.
The chat is not ready for this.
They're not ready for that, but I think so, man. I don't know. Like that is a close call, but I think I probably would. What about you?
Injuries would just be. Zion's a better player right now, without a doubt, and the potential of Zion is definitely generational for sure. Like peak Zion. Even though I think Scotty Barnes is a remarkably high ceiling, I think peak Zion right now, potential-wise, you got to put above Scotty Barnes, just all things considered.
I'm surprised to hear you say that. I don't know.
Zion's
surprised
nuts.
To hear you say that.
Like, that dude is ridiculous. Yeah. He's just an automatic bucket in the paint. Like,
he is.
There's a skill with Zion that is literally unstoppable. And those are the types of players that are top 10 of all time, right? When you have a skill that is physically, humanly impossible to stop, you can become that. And Zion Williamson, ceilings of ceilings, can become that. Will he get there? I don't think so. I think he'll be really good. I think but injury concerns are definitely a big issue for Zion. And look at Blake Griffin. The same may have been said about Blake Griffin back in 2011 when he was just postering people and all that sort of stuff. And I think that Blake Griffin had an amazing NBA career. It's still going, but I think that's the more logical expectation for a guy like Zion Williamson rather than a Scotty Barnes, who we could really see. And I don't want to feed into dramatic overhype of Scotty Barnes, set the expectation so high. I mean, look at him, even just a year ago, people were saying, oh, this guy's just going to be a trash lottery pick and stuff. So I don't want to put the Kevin Durant, the Kawhi Leonard, the LeBron James comparison, the Giannis Antetokounmpo comparisons in the fourfold too much. But that's Scotty Barnes can legitimately, I see a path where that's mildly realistic. So I'm keeping Scotty, but I'm not going to blame anyone for going on that other side. What's the chat saying on this? What is the chat saying on this? Fatty Zion.
Yeah, I saw that one.
Scotia over the Rock. Get out of here, Jeremy. Get out of here. That's
Arnold saying Zion would love that Canadian cuisine. You think Zion would be eating poutine or no?
Poutine's Montreal. That's not Toronto. That's
still Canada. It's still Canada.
Get out of here with that. Toronto, man. Come to the East Coast. See me loving a feed of fish and brews out by the bay. You know? Get that rock. We have a super chat coming in from Bueno Kitty saying Marcel says the Pels coming out of the West. Hot take? Marcel he asked me what to title our courtside video. Definitely check out Courtside Digest if you haven't been checking it out. Vid's popping off. But Marcel asked me what to title the video. He said Zion dominant. I was like, that's something that's more exciting, more fun for fans. He's like, well, I did say the Pelicans are coming out of the West. I'm like, oh. There we go.
That's it. That's the one. You know what? You go on this first, and then I'll follow up.
Oh, I just raved about Zion for I felt like 5 minutes.
So wait, healthy. No, but you think they'll come out of the West though? Like is that
no?
Like,
it's not my prediction, but I wouldn't be as shocked as I assume 90% of NBA fans would be if they did come out of the West. Like CJ McCollum is elite. Mm-hmm. That dude is remarkably underrated. Herb Jones is one of the best defenders in the NBA already. Brandon Ingram is an all-star caliber scorer. Zion is Zion. Then you have Jonas Valanciunas, you have Jackson Hayes out there in your front court. They have a sneaky deep bench. They have Devontae Graham back there. They have Jose Alvarado. They have Trey Murphy the third, I believe. There's a bunch of thirds out there that I always end up mixing up, but he's an effective three-point shooter, scorer, and stuff. They have a lot of guys off their bench that can really be effective coming into games and stuff. And I'm definitely missing people. I always miss players coming off the Pelicans bench, but they're good. They're good, and they have a potential top 5 guy in Zion. So you have that top 5 player mixed with a core group around him that are all-star caliber dudes. That's a team that has the recipes, so it has the ingredients of a conference finalist, NBA finalist sort of team.
I would be more inclined to go with the Clippers still.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would maybe put the Pelicans as a surprising top 3, like a consensus top 3 threat to come out. But I think that coming down to the wire, I mean, Luka Doncic could be a handful for any team if he decides he hates you. If you laugh at him too much or something, like next thing you know, your head's on the block with Luka. But I don't know. I would say they're top 3. I'll give Marcel a little bit of like kudos on that take because it's hot, but I think like it's not that
dumb.
Crazy to reach.
Yeah, it's not like a wild thing you're throwing out there. He backed it up. He gave a legitimate take. I wouldn't go with it. It's not my take. It's Marcel's. But it's not as crazy as some people might think. But we have a super chat coming in from Cherry Reaper Gaming saying, I miss Kyle's bet.
Christ.
You know, sometimes you just gotta do what you gotta do. You gotta miss the guys, and Kyle Lowry's a legend. That's all. That's all we're saying.
You just gotta buy League Pass and check out the Heat games, I guess.
Sacrilegious. We'll see him tomorrow night playing the old Toronto Raptors. Scooby-Doo is asking any more sweater giveaways coming back. No sweater giveaways currently on the horizon, but you never know. If you're subscribed to the Raptors Digest, you get fun things always in the future. We tried to give the sweater away, I think about 20 videos last year, and no one claimed it. So if you're a subscriber, old or new, you get a chance to win those giveaways when we have them. But Cherry Reaper Gaming coming in with another super chat saying Fred Van Cheeks needs to be let go. Cheeks for needs? Fred Van Cheeks for needs to be let go. Hey, Fred VanVleet was amazing tonight. Don't be hating. We finally got him playing exactly the way we want him to. So we'll be good. We'll be good. Is it me or is Nick Nurse losing his hair after every loss since the bubble?
Need a hairline check for Coach Nurse.
Do you remember that bald segment we used to have on the Raptors Digest for the
Yeah,
hair loss
yeah.
thing? I was looking at that animation. I was talking to Josh Goss of the Habs Digest, getting some inspo. Definitely, Habs Digest is going absolutely nuclear now. If you're a Habs fan, definitely check out the channel. But I was showing him the animation we have of Nick Nurse and the hair going off, and the bald Nick Nurse. People didn't catch it, but no one ever commented on it. But I kept the bald Nick Nurse on the tank for the Raptors during that season. It wasn't a haired Nick Nurse. It was a bald Nick Nurse, huh? Might have to sneak it into some more segments and stuff. But
Wait, so you're saying it was a bald Nick Nurse on the tank?
I was lazy, so I didn't want to crop out another like PNG graphic of a guy. It's like, oh, I already have Nick Nurse, but he's bald. I guess I'll just use this.
I didn't even notice that. I was sneaky.
You know, I'm always sneaking things for our animations. You gotta keep a lookout for all that stuff. But Bueno Kitty is saying, what's his name? The fake Jake. I think the fake Jake. I don't know if I removed it, but the fake Jake. Channel members, check if the Jake icon is still there in the channel membership logos. Let us know. New channel member Bueno Kitty. I see your recent comment. See if that's what's happening. The fake Jake needs to return. Yo, get Gabe Brown on the podcast. Gabe Brown would be a fun get. I feel like if you could have like a random, like a Raptors legend, like a gettable Raptors legend on the pod, who would it be, Josh? Like not a star. Like
what was that?
Not a super. Not like one of obviously Kyle Lowry or something like that. Who's a?
Oh man, you know who would it be? Who would it be? Is Danny Green, because Danny Green's genuinely really nice, so he would come on here and have all the time in the world for us, and he was a part of the championship run. So like I feel like the coolest stories about the team would logically kind of come from that season. Just like a balance of like he'd be really good to talk to, he was there for cool stuff, and like somewhat attainable maybe. I would say Danny Green.
Danny Green would be fun. Gary Trent's in the chat saying Malcolm Miller. Toronto International saying Jamario Moon. Reese is saying Ross off the bench. Yeah, interesting people. But if I had to go with someone, it would be Bebe. I think that could be proper gettable. I love Bebe, man. That dude I thought was going to be so good. And honestly was when he played. But then Dwayne Casey threw him in the clutch time in like a game 3 in the playoffs after not playing him for 3 months. And he was just trash and never played in the NBA again. So that's tough. I feel like Bebe would be a good get. You know, that's some legendary stuff. And we got Tom N coming in the super chat saying Jose Calderon for an interview. And honestly, that he'd be cool. He's got his ham farm. He's got his pig farm. We could ask him about that. The 3-point shot. I was always a kid. You know, people imitated Kobe Bryant and all that stuff. Young me was imitating Jose Calderon with the 3-point symbols. So
that's a true fan right there. That is a true fan.
Jose's my guy. Went up to Toronto actually. Did a basketball camp when I was up there. Jose was there, signed some autographs and all that. We don't get that. How many
NBA players have you met? Have you like met a fair bit?
We met Fred for that and one thing. I met a bunch of Celtics players, like on 2 eras, because I stayed at the same hotel the Celtics were staying at twice when I watched like a Celtics Raptors game. So I met Doc Rivers, Paul Pierce. Paul Pierce is a lamezo. KG was a lamezo. Like Jermaine O'Neal was really nice. Michael Petrus, who ended up becoming a Toronto Raptor. Who else was on that? Avery Bradley was on that squad, I believe, or it might have been another Avery. But then the second go around, I met like Marcus Thornton, Brad Stevens, but the legendary guy on that excursion was Brian Scalabrine, who I was kind of dumb waiting in the lobby. Someone told me to leave because they're in the spot. You can wait outside, but it's super cold. So I was like, all right. Then most of the players already came out, so it is what it was. So I was chilling in the lobby, eating some food with my mom. And then Brian Scalabrine came in and looked lost. And he straight up asked, do you guys know where the exit is? So obviously got a selfie with Brian Scalabrine. It's still on my Instagram. Check it out at Ben Rogers 1. Got a mean selfie with Brian Scalabrine. If you go way back on the post, but you know it's some legendary stuff. some Brian Scalabrine talk. We got
I
some
gotta be
wild
real though.
names.
If I saw KG, I probably wouldn't say anything to him. I
He
don't think he doesn't seem like a friendly guy.
put
Like I
up his
gotta be
hood, walked out, walked through, because there's like 5 people at the outside the hotel at that point. Like some dude I think was like a locked in guy that just knew where the players stayed all the time and had his autograph books ready. So that was the main guy getting real pushy. I was just kind of out there like, mom's out there taking pictures of me like, you know. Doc Rivers is really nice. So we don't get that in Toronto. But we don't get that in Newfoundland. Danny Granger came to St. John's, Newfoundland once though, and hosted a basketball camp. That's why Pacers are my number 2 team, like all junior high and stuff. So that's why I got the Roy Hibbert jersey to rep those Indiana Pacers squads.
Bro, I still can't believe the story you told me that LeBron James was like on the court warming up for his first ever NBA game in St. John's.
Yep. The first one ever. Did we talk about this on the podcast or did we talk about
Yeah,
this?
we did. Okay.
Make the push. Bring the Raptors to St. John's for 2023. Preseason. Let's get it happening, folks. Tweet at people. Anyone on the pods, anyone listen to the pods, I got connections. Make it happen. Get the Raptors Digest out here calling the game. Let's make it crazy. Make it LeBron. Lakers versus Raptors. Come full circle. Because for people that don't know, LeBron was going to have his first ever NBA game here in the preseason. We just apparently we just didn't lay the basketball court on the ice properly, and the thing just became super slippery, and the guys just couldn't play. So they all dipped, and they just didn't play the preseason
Rookie move, boys. Rookie move.
You know, we got the St. John's Growlers now at this point, so we got it worked out. We got the court all suited up, so we're ready to bring some people in. Ryan's in the chat saying nope. I don't know if you're saying that to Gary Trent Jr. saying sign Boogie, but it is what it is. That whole Celtics group is a joke. Won at one championship and act like a dynasty. Definitely agree, Jeremy. They're milking that one championship. This milk that they're throwing out there on the screen right now, they're just excreting fluid from that championship. From that championship win. And they're doing it way too much. But Jeff is saying, what's happening in St. John's? We're getting an NBA game. That's what's happening. You remember when Tamari Carroll was actually a good player? I remember when he was a segment on this podcast. People are
How much did he get paid
here.
in free agency again? Like that deal was decent.
15-16 million by us. Honestly, I will stand by this. I feel like our channel
We didn't get free agents, so
yeah, I feel like our channel did a lot unintentionally, but just because we had the Damari Carroll Gold Star Award for so long, we probably propagated too much hate towards Damari. Not intentional, but it is what it is. The first 5 games he was with us before he got hurt, because he got hurt 5 games into that season. The Raptors are 5-0, and this dude looked ferociously good. He was clamping up players. He was hitting all his threes, and then after that injury, the dude just looked like he was playing on roller skates or something. He was afraid to get hurt. He was slow, just not mobile, wasn't hitting his shots. But those 5 games, we got a glimpse. That team would have won a championship with Lowry, DeMar, and prime Damari Carroll. I stand by that. The LeBron stopper.
He was a beast on the Hawks. I remember like that season that he had got him paid, and I remember being pretty excited about it. You know what? Like Toronto, especially back then, was not pulling in the cream of the crop for FAs. So
the cream of the crop.
Damari Carroll will be fondly remembered.
The cream of the crop, Josh, or the fluid of the crop?
The fluid, Jesus Christ.
I think on
fluid
that
of the
note,
crop, Damari Carroll.
Damari Carroll, the fluid of the crop for the Toronto Raptors. But folks, you guys are the best for making this far. Check out the Instagram, the TikTok, the Twitter, all that cool stuff. Lots of fun stuff coming for the Raptors Digest, so subscribe to the channel. We're almost at 26k subs, so the 150 people we got in this chat right now, if you all subscribe, we're also going to get there. Also check out our other channels, Leafs Digest, Habs Digest, Jays Digest. Jays Digest was in the chat here earlier. Courtside Digest, getting all that stuff rocking. But, you know, we appreciate you all. Josh, do you have any last words on this Raptors heartbreaking loss, but still with some positives?
Confident we're going to bounce back, man. I'm not worried. Tonight was fun.
Let's beat those Heat. Cheers.
Cheers.